Their revenues. Let's get into the numbers. I have not done this for a while, and I've always been curious. Like, hey, let's look at their numbers. Let's compare them side to side, just to see who really is the king on the numbers at least. We're gonna look at the yearly though. We're not gonna go quarter to quarter. I think it's better if we go year over year. Let's start with ILUS. Yeah, I'm gonna put AITX last because that's kind of well, you'll see what I mean in a second. But if we start with the balance sheet here, you'll notice total assets for Ilus, huge increase, huge, like mega increase in assets. Look at that. In 2018, 6.74K. In 2022, again, we're looking at the annually, 251.42 million. Huge increase in 4 years in total assets. And they have a good assets to liabilities ratio. Their liabilities are at 195.30 million. So just off of assets and liabilities, let's look at AITX here real quick. Let's look at king number 3. That's how I would rate them. King number 1, probably Ilus, Cybl number 2, and then AITX number 3. Although I wouldn't blame you for switching AITX and Cybl. Cybl is in CE. Let's look at the annually. Let's go to the balance sheet. Let's make sure we're all on the annual and on the balance sheet. There we go. AITX 2018 total assets 591K. Total liabilities in 2018 16.42 million, and it has doubled since then. In 2022, we have total assets of 6.3 million and total liabilities of 38.14 million. Holy crap, that is a horrible assets to liabilities ratio. They have way more liabilities by like what? Not 10x. That's a huge difference though. Like look at those assets to liabilities. I don't know about you, but just off of that alone, I'd probably put my money in ILIS over AITX. If we're not looking at charts, if we're just, let's pretend like we're one of those people. We only buy companies with good numbers and not look at the charts. We don't care about charts. Let's just pretend we're one of those people. We look at the numbers and we go, hey, based on the numbers, AITX, holy crap, those assets, the liabilities, that's no bueno. Look, let me pull this up for you guys. Assets to liabilities ratio. Yeah, I'm sure the ratio is pretty good. I'm not even going to do the math because that is what you look at that. Whew. Now let's look at Cybl real quick. Cybl real quick here. 2023, 33.72 million in total assets, 47.48 million in liabilities. So not as bad as AITX. If you notice, you'll also notice that these three companies over the course of the past 4 years, they've grown. Like they've grown. Just looking at assets and liabilities, you can tell they've grown. But ILIS, I would say, is king here when it comes to assets and liabilities because they just have way more assets than liabilities. Like these two, Cybl, their assets and liabilities isn't that bad actually. 33 versus 33 million in assets versus 47 million in total liabilities. Compare that to AITX, who has holy crap. I'm so shocked that they have like 6x the amount of their assets. I mean, like, yeah, 6x they have 6 times the amount of like. Damn it, I'm getting confused here. They have 6 million in assets. You multiply that by 6. I mean, that's ridiculous. Not even 6. Wait, no, yeah, 6. I thought 6 times 6 was 32 for a second, but no, it's 36. I remember my math, but yeah, that is ridiculous. And I always bashed AITX for this, for having such a ridiculous assets to liabilities ratio. Like just on the numbers alone, you probably would not want to buy AITX. You wouldn't want to buy AITX. Out of all of these, the clear winner here is ILIS. So congrats to ILIS on that one. This is just again, if we weren't even trading charts, we would just probably not even bother with AITX. We would look at AITX and be like, wow, what a dumpster fire. Just off of that alone. Okay, let's look at income statement. Again, we're gonna go year over year. I imagine ILIS wins here, but we'll see. So from 2018 to 2022, Ilus total revenue increased from 3.4K to 78.34 million. Huge increase. Huge increase. Now let's compare that to Cybl total revenue. Zero revenue apparently, and then zero again in 2020, 8.11 million in 2021, 2022, 5.01 million, and then a mega increase in 2023, 20.46 million. So these are real companies. Their revenues are increasing. But again, I think I would have to give it to Ilus on this one. Because you'll notice, ooh, AITX, I mean, yeah, it's a king on the charts. Don't look at the numbers. But yeah, total revenue from 2018, 114K. And then you look at 2022, 1.33 million. It's not the most recent, but we'll still go with these numbers, 1.33 million. So right now, again, just on the numbers alone, Ilus is like the better buy. Like if we weren't chart traders, we would not even look at AITX. We would just be like AITX, yeah, fuck you. You're good. Like that's what we would. We would just be bashing it. We'd be on the numbers. It doesn't look that great if we're being honest. But from a long term perspective, sure, I could see the. I mean, there's clearly they're doing a lot. Don't get me wrong, but let's see, cost of goods sold, negative point. Okay, I think. Phew. Oh boy, I just looked at the cost of goods sold for Ilus, and oh boy, that's a big number. Let's look at the cost of goods sold for AITX. That's probably going to be the worst number. Ooh, the cost of goods sold is about 50% of their total. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot. That yeah, their cost of goods sold eats yeah, it eats into their profits for sure. Like almost 50%. Like for everything yeah, every time they sell, they only get like essentially yeah, half of the monies. Huh. Let's look at cost of goods sold for Cybl, 9.19 million. So yeah, about 50% almost. I mean that's not a bad thing. It's just ooh, cost of goods sold for Ilus negative 50 million, total revenue 78 million. So more than 50% of their revenue gets eaten into by the cost of goods sold. So for those of you who don't know, when you sell something, obviously you're not getting all the money. It costs money to make money. Cost of goods sold shows the amount of money company spends to produce or manufacture. Yep. So yeah, interesting, right? The cost of goods sold is actually higher percentage wise for Ilus relative to Cybl and AITX. But again, just overall, we would right now Ilus is looking like the better, the real king, I guess. Like just on the numbers, operating expenses 30 million for Ilus. Operating expenses. Where's the operating expenses for? Or negative 14 million for Cybl. Operating expenses negative 2.63 million for AITX. Let's look at the net income. Let's switch over to the net income. And I think that'll be it for the video. I don't think there's not much else to talk about there. Just on the numbers alone, if we were a numbers guy, we would go with Ilus. Completely the winner, not just in assets and liabilities, but also with growth, like just massive growth. We'll look at that when we recap in a little bit, but the net income has increased to 4.56 million from a low of negative 1.43 way back in 2018. So Ilus right here, yeah, Ilus at 4.56 million, Cybl net income negative 9.51 million. So they're still in the negative, and I believe AITX is still in the negative as well. They're still not, profitable. So as of right now, like I said, just buy the numbers. Buy the numbers alone. Ilus is the better buy. I think some people are going to complain like you didn't look at net debt. You didn't look at the debt, but I think these are OTC companies. They're going to have debt. They're going to dilute. They've all diluted. except for Cybl. I don't think Cybil's diluted because they can't. I assume they can't, but yeah, they've all diluted, right? At some point. Total debt, net debt. So yeah, they're all gonna have debt, but I think Cybl has the least amount of debt. Yeah, Cybl and ATX have the least. Huh? Really? Really? They really? Oh my God! Really? Huh? That is really interesting. Oops, that's not what I meant to click on. That's not what I meant to click on. Yeah, as of 2022, Ilus has 138 million in total debt. Cybl has a total debt of 14.26 million, and total debt for AITX, at least as of 2022, based on TradingView financials, total debt is 26.92 million. But having a lot of debt isn't bad. I mean, I think even what's that one stock? There's that. There we go. The drug stock, smoking stock, as I like to call it. Oops, I did not mean to pull up the chart. But yeah, no, the big debt isn't a big deal. It's not that big of a deal, especially with the fact that they have way more assets than liabilities relative to the other two stocks. So if we just had to go off of numbers, I know some of you are probably surprised, like, wait, you're actually just looking at the pure numbers and not just going off of the charts. If we just go off of pure numbers, uh, ILIS is the king. Like that's the one you want to be buying right now. And on the chart, it's about to get cheaper, so it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But you take that, you take this information however you will. If we mainly trade off the charts, right? So we're just gonna wait for things to get cheap, and we'll load up for the next run. That's what we just did with AITX. We loaded up AITX. I kept telling people buy under 0035. It will have its run. It did run 50%. Boom! It was that easy. You just got to be patient and let it come down nice and cheap. I always use the hot dog analogy. I'm not buying no hot dog at $2.50 when I know it'll come back down to 125. So I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of Costco and I'm hungry for hot dogs. That's it for the video, guys. Maybe this helps you make a decision when it comes to investing in either of these, but I'm still gonna go off the charts. I will be buying AITX when it gets under 003. I'll be buying ILIS when it gets under double into 00 land, and I'll be buying Sybil when